This flower just caught my eye. Zinnias will just grab my eyes. This was what I thought was a volunteer sunflower up by my house. And I pulled it and brought it down here and planted it. Well, obviously it wasn't a sunflower. I want to show you all my sweet potatoes. I started these by laying them horizontally. They were from the potatoes I grew last year. Laying them horizontally in soil and kept it just a little moist, not too much. And then they started sprouting. And I pulled it up and took the sprouts off and put them in water for a couple of days because they already had roots forming. And so I've got sweet potatoes here in this bed. And then I've got sweet potatoes that I started the same way, and they're in a grow bag. And if I remember when I get up to the house, I'll go ahead and take a picture of that. This is how I do a menagerie of planting. Look at that garlic, it's ready. Dill is volunteer, all of it's volunteer, and it's everywhere. Let's see. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And these carrots are going to be so small and hard to work with because I can't bear to go ahead and thin things hardly. And then over here, see if you can see, these are the remainder of the beets that I felt were too small to pull. And I think I'm gonna ferment them. I've seen a woman, oh, my dog is over there. I don't know if we can get a shot of that or not. She's over there checking out the blackberries. She's quite the hunter. She thinks that there must be a mouse everywhere in these beds. So anyway, what I was going to say is I saw a woman who ferments her beets and then she makes a fizzy drink out of the juice. Can you imagine how good that is for us? So here's my tomatoes. Some of them. I've got some up on by my patio. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. I've got 3 ripe ones now of the celebrities, and I've got an old German that I've got in the house, and then these cherry tomatoes are just like proliferate. All of these extra stakings is because of heavy rain caused my ties to stretch out, and my tomatoes are almost all on the ground. Right here you will see my pole beans. They're doing great. I just picked some green beans here, and I'm debating about whether or not I should pull them because, I mean, they're covered with beautiful flowers. I'll show you. I'll turn this around really slow. See what a pitiful little harvest, but I've already done 2 canners of them. And it's just this little bed. I think it's a 6x4. But they're blooming real pretty, which makes me think, give them a chance. I pulled some onions out of there. This onion right here can keep going. These onions are small because they were right in there with them. But I have humongous onions. These are candy onions, they're keeping onions. And see there? And I can't weed them because it'll upset the root system. And I've decided, since we have a lot of rain forecasts for tonight, it's going to be a very hot day here, like it has been. But rain's moving in 3 to 6 and then in the night. So I decided to get some of these on out. I think it's for the best. And I'm going to get them drying. Please don't judge me on all these weeds, because when I try to pull them, I'll show you what happens. When I try to pull the weeds, it disturbs if I really get down there where I need to, see how it will affect my onions. I'm gonna pull one of these big old onions. Isn't that a pretty onion? I have got onions all over this garden. I mean, all over it. I've been carrying onions up and down the street, hanging them on grocery bags on doorknobs even, for a couple people that love onions. Here, I'm just starting out, so I'm not pulling carrots. I just pull those to see the size of my carrots. Got those few green beans. Like I said, I've already got 2 canners full. And then this cattle panel is going to be covered in pole beans. And it'll go all the way over to the top. Do you see how those vines are up there? That's how far up they go. They meet each other on their way up. So I'm going to be pulling onions, and I'll show you the results. Okay, here's so far how I've gotten out of that one bed that is sharing space, was sharing space with weeds and sharing space with my pole beans. So I'm going to put my hand down here, which is covered in dirt. I don't do anything with gloves on hardly at all. I'm sorry to say, but look at this. Here's my hand, and here's that. Isn't that something? This soil I have is fantastic. We, being my youngest son and I, amended it this year with compost from a place around Central Missouri called Bluebird Composting. And boy, stuff just grows like crazy. Just grows beautifully. So anyway, I'm off to do more. I'm going to lay these out and let them dry. And then I'm thinking about, I may have to take them in my house, which is okay. I don't mind that. So my family's used to vegetables curing in the one spare bedroom I have. That's really like a food storage room almost. Library, food storage, play place for my little great-granddaughter. So I'm going to take a picture. This is my dog. She's looking for mice. I haven't had a mouse in any of these beds that I ever know of. But this dog is a mouser. It's the strangest thing I've never had a dog that was a mouser. Okay, girl, get away from that cage. I don't want you to get poked in the eye. I sound like my mom used to sound like. Be careful, you're going to poke yourself in the eye. So there's my corn back there. It's looking really good. The sun's so bright in my face, I hope you can see it. There's Punky. She's hunting for mice or whatever might be in there that she thinks shouldn't be. There's my corn back there. It's looking good, looking good. I planted it late, and then also there's a big old zucchini plant, but it's not doing a lot. I haven't seen very many bees at all this year, and last year I was feeding them, so they may have taken off. And here's the other side of the cattle panel with the pole beans and some teeny tiny zinies. And over here, I had the strangest thing. I had nasturtiums in here last year in that bed, and these boards, there's a gap between the two boards now because it's getting kind of be an older garden beds. But anyway, these are growing from between the two boards. These beautiful nasturtiums. I love nasturtiums. So in this bed I also, and there I have my dog again. She actually will eat a raw potato if she gets the chance. I laid one down one day that I wanted to just go ahead and pull and take in, and I heard crunching, and I turned around and she was eating that raw potato. So there's the potatoes. There's my borage that looks pitiful, and Gumfrina, one of my favorites. There's the bird bath. I love watching the birds get in that. And over here in my potatoes, I'm going to show that to y'all and see what you think. I think that I have potatoes that have grown this spring and summer. I think they're starting to grow in the ground because I pulled a few to eat out of those red potatoes. They're, let me think. I always want to say they're red Pontiacs. That's what they are. I've never grown them before, but boy, they're good. So I'll show it to y'all. There's too much green foliage coming up where they died back, so I think I need to get those potatoes out of there. I think they're sprouting and growing. Here's what I'm talking about with these potatoes. These had all died back on the left. The ones on the left had died back. And I was going to just, I've been eating out of this little row. So I was just going to come along and I was going to let them just kind of die back totally, and then somehow they've gotten a second wind, and it's not because of water, because I water daily by hand. And the rains we've had, I think that's part of it. I think this beautiful new growth is coming from a potato or more than one, and I don't want to ruin my potatoes like that. So these over here are the red Pontiacs, and these here are the Kennebecs. which they keep pretty well, but I can quite a few, but I eat a lot of them with my family. We eat a lot of them fresh. And then in this bed that I showed you with my pole beans going up, because I had peas in there. I had sugar snap peas in both sides of the cattle panel, which are nitrogen fixers. Like, they have little nodules on their roots, and they keep nitrogen in the soil, which is great. I had the peas there, and I processed them, and I let them actually get big enough. The sugar snap peas, I let them get big enough that I actually take the peas out and freeze the peas. I blanch them and freeze them. That's over, obviously, because here I planted, my favorite pole bean is maybe just a nostalgic kind of thing, but it's Cherokee purple. So, excuse me, that's one of my favorite tomatoes. My favorite pole bean is Trail of Tears, Cherokee Trail of Tears. So I've got a good bag of them in the house that I can use for seed. Or I could make it'd probably make a pint and a half of canned beans if I can some beans. And then on this side, I've got the Kennebecks again, which I'm looking forward to these. They look like, the plants have all looked so healthy, but for some reason, these haven't died back as much. And they're a longer potato, but look. See, I haven't raised beds. There's a problem with mounding the dirt for me. But I've got those right there that I'm gonna take because I don't want them to get green. Now, if you cut the green off, you can eat those potatoes. They don't hurt you. But if you eat a green potato, it can hurt your belly. You don't want to do that. You want to cut the skin off. And I love skins of potatoes. There's a lot of vitamins and nutrients in that. And then I'll show you a jungle right here. I mean a jungle. My tomato plants. This year I decided I wasn't going to do a whole lot of pruning. And you can tell that, right? Well, let me tell you a downfall of that. They've not suffered from not having the air around them, and as wet as it's been, I'm surprised. However, look how tall they are. Way taller than me. So, and I'm 5'6" and a half, 5'7". So, a downfall is they get so bushy that you can't hardly keep them staked up. And I'll take you over here and show you this pretty stuff. Look at that beautiful water today. I love God's world. I pulled some of these potatoes that I didn't want to be green, and my theory's right. I'm not glad that it's right, it's just right. And here we got one of my beautiful potatoes sprouting, wanting to grow. I could leave them in the ground and let them grow, but I don't want to do that. I mean, I could get another harvest in, but I don't want to do that. I want to get them out of there. So, I've only got so much energy, and it's hot, getting hot. So I think what I'll do is when this rain passes, that's coming through tonight, I'll give the ground a little bit of time to dry a little bit, because I really don't like digging them when it's that wet. But I just did that with my hands. Show you all my filthy hands. See what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what I was afraid was happening, and that's happening. This photography is going to be terrible for you all because I use a walking cane, not a cane, a big pole. And doing that and then doing this with my hand and trying to dig, I'm not real good at that. I didn't bring a tripod with me. This was an impromptu thing, but I saw all the stuff I was going to be harvesting. See, I think I really need to get this out because look at how healthy these plants are, and they died back. I think this is actually my potatoes are down there sprouting. It's been wet. So I'm going to take you over here and let's look at the cucumbers, which I haven't got one cucumber yet. And it came up on my memories today that last year I was canning pickles. Plant I think is just gorgeous, this cucumber plant. There's some tiny babies on it, but boy, things are behind when it comes to this. I don't know if it's because I had broccoli in there before and cabbages, but it's not affected the corn, and the corn loves nitrogen. And I still have some onions growing. I'm not going to pull that one yet. But I do have a lot of blooms on these, so there's hope. Because I really need me some cucumbers. I use a lot of cucumber relish. And we love fresh eating. My whole family does. Let me show you my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful big old German maters. You know, I've never called them maters in my life except just for fun. Grew up in the Ozark Mountains and I never heard anybody call them a mater. But we have lots of regions and dialects in this country, and that's wonderful. Makes us all unique. Now here I have a sickly little cucumber plant, but it's got some blossoms. There's a blossom. And look at it back in here, if I can let you get them back in there and see. Can you see it? You can kind of see all those tomatoes. Well, y'all, I'm gonna call it a day. Not a day, I'm gonna call it a day in the garden. I may come out and pick my blackberries. I'm always afraid I'm gonna give people vertigo, but I'm gonna show you these. Are these just not gorgeous? This is their first year. I planted these, planted them, it'll be 2 years this October, and they're just full. And I come out every day and pick, and I keep bags in the freezer, and I just add these to them. I want enough to make jam, and I have enough to make jam. And I want to make a blackberry cobbler real bad. The kind with the crust, you know? That's the kind I like the best. And my family, too, I think. Look at this beautiful, gorgeous zinnia. And I've got corn among my squash. Let's see, I don't see any tassels. I'm so focused on corn. I can't wait to get some corn, and there's so little here. But I'm confident we're gonna have some fresh eating. And now there is a baby zucchini. There's a zucchini coming along. And I can get this out of the way. And since I haven't seen pollinators, I saw one bee this morning, a bumblebee. What I've been doing, you can tell by the ripped up leaves or the flowers, is I've been pollinating them myself. I'll take a male flower and get down to the pistil, I think, if I remember correctly, and then I'll put that pollen all over the female plant down in there, and I get me one for sure, which I know nature could take care of it, but things are weird in gardens. I see some weird stuff in gardens. So weird meaning stuff I've not seen before. Look at all this volunteer dill. I got enough dill, I just need the cucumbers to come along. Well, y'all, I think it's time for me and this dog to go in. And first I'm gonna lay out these onions and let them get started drying. I always like to turn you around. I'd like to show you my weeping willow tree. My chair's blown over. And this beautiful, beautiful world. There's a bluebird box. Beautiful world the Lord has made. And here's a pride and joy of mine. And that is 2 pine trees that came from Shannon County, Pine Holler, where my grandparents had. It was a homestead, believe me. No running water or electricity. They had a spring we walked and got the water to drink. So anyway, you all have a really, really good day.